Alright, what's going on, guys? Lotus What Ifs here, back with a new video. So here's the thing. There is a what if that I'm going to be canceling slash ending. Um, it is not the recent Deku what if or any past what if such as the Naruto what if, but an Asta what if. See, I have very good reasoning for this. Like, this time I actually have very good reasoning for stopping this what if. And it's not because, like, all the other times I got lazy or, like, I didn't feel like doing it. It's because, like, that one, I feel like I went a little, like, I feel like it was bad. Kind of like a draft version of, like, it. It's because, like, there was not much story, or because at the time I was not reading the manga, so I didn't have much to go off of. So, like, the Asta what if I'm going to delete is not what if Asta was betrayed, but like the one where he didn't have a grimoire, or to be exact, the one where he had infinity and the ship was merely I'm gonna be recreating it. The ship is still gonna be the same and stuff like that, but this is a new what if. Quick disclaimer, I have thought about it. I feel like I should start trying to scale my what if, even though I love them all equally, like each what if character, but I'm gonna categorize them for My Hero, Naruto, and so forth. So as we are now with the My Hero ones, I have never once made one that was boundless. The most recent one was only hyperversal at max. No, high outer. It was high outer. Yeah, it was high outer at max. Why? Because he was still bound. This one, let's hopefully believe that I can bring this one to boundless. Let's see how this works. All right, let's hopefully believe that I can bring this one to um to boundless. So first of all, there are many what ifs. No, not what ifs, but anime characters inside of this, including any manga characters. So quick spoiler: if you have not seen the manga of God of High School, I would suggest you head out and click off. If you have not watched Full Metal Alchemist, please head out. If you have not watched Gurren Lagann or read the manga, please politely head out. I am terrible with this name because this is anime. This is something that I am bad with. If you have not read or watched anything on Daisuran, yeah, I am terrible with names. I'll just write the name in the description. I feel like I'm embarrassing myself with this. So head out. So, if you want to stay and you're fine with spoilers, that's up to you. All right, I'm not criticizing. But if you don't like spoilers, yes, I still do recommend heading out and coming back when you are done reading or watching those. But anyways, let's get on with this deck. What if? So in this what if, how do I want to start it off? I can make it a betrayed one. I can make it like a bullied one. I can make it a cheated one. I could make it a lot of things, or an abused one at most as well. It's been a long time since I have made a really bad what if. No, not a bad what if, but to be exact, one with like bad things. Like one that's specifically made not for children. So, let's see. Maybe I'll incorporate them all. Maybe I'll incorporate bad childhood for Deku, bullied a lot, cheated on, and betrayed. So let's see how this works out, shall we? Oh, I still haven't decided a ship for this one. Why is my basketball bouncing on the floor? I'll leave it be for now. Anyways, yeah, I think I'll incorporate that. So to start this off, everything in the main timeline shall be the same. But there are slight, not subtle, but slight big changes. Slight big changes, yes. Yes, I've created a new way of observing things. Slightly big changes to this world. So certain events happened in World War II that I will not be explaining, so I do not spoil a certain anime inside of this what if. for you guys, and it happens to be involved with this picture you see in front. I have a relative image of how Deku's gonna look, because out of this whole series, it's actually my favorite character. So, yeah. So, yeah. So Deku at a young age, he was abused, man. Inko got mad because he was quirkless, cause she thought he was gonna make it out the hood. She thought he was gonna make it out the hood. All right, so that's where we stand at for right now. She thought he was gonna make it out the hood, and she found out he was quirkless. So she got really mad and she started abusing him to the point where she even started to use her quirks in the most unseen reasonings of ways to be using it. She has used her quirk to rip off pieces of his skin, molecule by molecule, just to put him in pain. Hold on. Sorry, my brother was looking for something. Anyways, yeah. So, yeah, Deku was abused. Inko used her quirk to rip off his skin piece by piece, and she actually did this a lot, leaving Deku with very deep tissue scars. Alright? Not just tissue scars, but muscle scars. And she made sure that they healed over time. It wasn't anything major in which you could see, but it was very, 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 very disgusting at most. And that's really bad. So, that's kind of how things stand right now. So, nobody noticed that, well, Deku had scars. He was still bullied as per normal inside of the anime by Bakugo and stuff like that. But in this one, Bakugo had a feeling that Deku was hiding something. But Bakugo was too much of a coward to, well, go into it. So the only thing he does was kept on bullying Deku. Never doing anything to let go of his scars. Continuously exploding his stuff. Exploding Deku and stuff like that. He never cared when Deku was whimpering in pain, because he just thought that, oh, it was just Deku being Deku, just crying anytime he got hit with a light attack. But in reality, it was his explosions coming into contact with Deku's scars, making it, well, painful for him. So that's kind of how it works. So we go to the regular anime, but in this one, during the end of middle school, he met Uraraka. Now, Uraraka didn't know anything about Deku. He just thought he was a really gloomy kid. She said, I want to lighten up his world. So she spent time with him, knowing that she was poor and stuff like that, kind of making him happy. And anytime Inko or Bakugo saw him happy, they would attack or hurt him. But this never happened in front of Uraraka. So that's kind of where things stand. And then when they entered UA, Bakugo finally saw Uraraka and Deku hanging out, and he was like, oh, that's why you're always happy, huh, Deku? As he proceeds to bully Deku in front of Uraraka. Again, he still got the quirk from All Might, but this time it's not going to be like a framed betrayal, alright? As that happened, and this continued. This continued for almost a month. Oh, dear God, hold on. Yeah, I just realized my background is going to be really loud with my family. So I might as well not even try to hide it at this point. But anyways, yeah. So Uraraka starting to realize this, sees that, oh, Deku's not that strong. She now wants somebody that's stronger than Deku, and she chooses Bakugo. So one night, she meets up with Bakugo and they talk, and Uraraka starts falling in love. And this goes on for a month. No actions were taken and stuff like that, because Bakugo, he had self-control and self-decency. And it was one day where Uraraka came crying to him, falsely crying to him, saying that, oh, her and Deku broke up, knowing damn well that they were still together. As basically, it was that night where they became a thing, and they didn't do the thing. They just kissed and stuff like that. Kind of like having an affair. Stuff like that. Not like, like things going in and out of stuff. So not kind of like that. Just kissing, hugging, cuddling, and stuff like that. Having dates and stuff like that. They're just the basics of cheating. The basics, like borderline cheating. And, Deku has started to notice that she was getting distant. As a matter of fact, All Might felt distant to him as well, because at the beginning, All Might was very motivated to teach Deku. But All Might soon realized that, hey, maybe Deku's not worth my effort, because he doesn't seem like he's determined. Little does he know, Deku was practicing with the quirk every night and every day, getting tired and tired on end. But that's going to change soon. Anyways, so that's kind of how things stand. As basically, Deku says, you know what? Maybe I should just let go. But he is not certain of it yet, so he just continues with life until one day he walks into the class. As he sees the teachers there and Nezu. As Deku's concerned on what's going on because everybody's looking at him, and the moment he sits down, Nezu says, Izuku Midoriya. As Deku gets up and says, yes, sir. As Nezu says, I apologize to inform you, but you shall be expelled from the school, hereby today. As Deku says, what? As All Might steps forward and says, young Midoriya, I'm sorry. As Deku, his life shatters right before his eyes, and he says, what do you mean? As All Might says, I informed Nezu to expel you. As Deku starts yelling, why? As All Might says, because it's too dangerous. As Deku, in a way, he understands this, but he's also infuriated because the main reason why he joined UA was because he knew it was going to be dangerous. He knew it was going to be dangerous being All Might's successor. And All Might just betrayed him, not trusting in him. As All Might says, young Midoriya, please come outside with me. Don't make this hard. As Deku, with zero life in his eyes, says, fine. As he goes out. As the class, feeling sad as ever, and Deku says, alright, All Might, you need the hair back. As All Might looks down at Midoriya, he hugs him and he says, Midoriya Shonen, I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you this before, but I felt like it would have been dangerous. When you have my quirk, it is not me that you're fighting. You're fighting somebody more dangerous. As Deku says, who? As All Might says, the person you're fighting is All For One, the world's greatest villain. As Deku says, oh, okay. As All Might says, I apologized. I had so much faith in you and I still do. It's just that at this moment, I don't know when All For One could come. He could come by tomorrow and plan to attack. And I don't want tomorrow to be the day where you lose your life. You are a kid with many ambitions. It's just the ambition of being a hero under me is possibly dangerous. And the only way I can protect you is to taking away the quirk. But that will leave you quirkless. And I don't want that, but it must be so. So I apologize, Midoriya. As Midoriya, saddened, infuriated, flabbergasted, but yet understanding and caring for All Might, and says, alright, All Might, here you go. As that happens, and take in mind, Deku and Uraraka are still together, like nothing happened. Like she ain't break up with him, no nothing. They are still together. So, just to get that in the way. As Deku, he took everything off and he left. As he didn't take off the uniform, Nezu said he could keep it. Not as a way to pity him, but a way to show his respects to Deku and to prove to everybody that even though Izuku Midoriya may not look like it, he still made it to one of the top schools inside of the world. Yes, UA is one of the top hero school institutes inside of the My Heroverse. As Deku says, alright, as Deku, he doesn't go home. Deku had a part-time job where he made enough money where he could survive for at least a month or two. As he let that happen. As basically, Oh, the way that I'm gonna plan this out is crazy. As Deku says, alright. As Deku, he lets this happen and he proceeds to continue with his life. And Deku, he goes on with life like nothing happened. But a month later, he sees something that shocks him. He sees Bakugo and Uraraka. As he confronts them, and Uraraka says, ew, why is he here? As Bakugo said, didn't you tell him? As Deku says, tell me what? As Uraraka says, you know what, Izuku? I'm getting tired of you. You're a weakling. I want to break up. I'm going to be with Bakugo now. He's strong. As Deku, who is already lifeless on the inside, says, alright, enjoy your life, and moves on with his day. But before he goes, he gets an explosion right to the back of his head. And that's where Bakugo hits him. As Deku, he gets up after 5 minutes after making sure Bakugo and Uraraka are gone. He just walks off. Walks to the apartment in which he, well, no, not an apartment, but a small shabby house that he bought. As he says, alright, let's do this. As Deku, he goes into his house. As that happens, and Deku, he just does basic push-ups and stuff like that, just so he can stay in shape, reads and stuff like that, though he has nothing to do, no work anymore, because he spent money on the shabby house, and he has everything that he needs for living expenses. Yeah, imagine being a 15-year-old doing this. That would be tragic. As, knowing that he doesn't have to bear with, Inko anymore, he's fine with that. But anytime he thinks or even utters her name or hears it, he feels pain in the scars. As even though they have healed, he still feels the chills of Inko just torturing him. As Deku says, alright, let's just move on with the day. As that happens, and Deku, one day, 2 months after all of this happened, he's really tired. He's practically exhausted because Deku, he didn't sleep the day before. And it's not because of anything happening special or anything, but because he saw that, it was a villain attack. He heard about the villain attack at the USJ, and, Deku, who wasn't mad or sad or frightened, was just curious on what happened. So he stayed all night listening to the news, and that left him extremely tired since he didn't really eat anything for that long. And Deku, the moment that he sat down, or at least laid down on his bed to just look at the ceiling, he passed out unconscious, where he entered the space where he sees many people. When I say many people, I mean many people. Not a lot of people, but enough. Like several, like dozens of people. Like around 7 people at most. As the people you see are the ones on this throne right here, all 8 people and more. So, first of all, let's get this out of the way. I'm gonna say the names. This is Hajun. They're from Daizure. Like every character I'm about to show you from now on are from Daizure. You should know the characters after because they're not hard to recognize. So, this is Hajun. I'm not going to say their titles. That's too much work. There's only one character which I'm going to say the title for. And, this is, oh my god, how is it that I forgot his name again? God damn. Nope, Reinhard. Nope, I remember now. That's Reinhard. That's, Muzan. Yeah, you see the name right there. The name is at the corners of it. That's Muzan, or also known as, the Remorseless. No, was it Merciless or Remorseless? It's either one. It was either one. That's Muzan, and that is Mercurius. Oh, by the way, this is what Deku's appearance is gonna look like. Why? Because that's my favorite character. That's why. And that is Ren Fuji. This is, also Ren Fuji, but, a different version of him. This is, Yota. This is... Alright, so every character here is from a different timeline. but they happen to be in, like, they know each other. Yeah, these guys in their verse, they're known as Hado gods or gods, and the thing that they're sitting on is known as the throne. The throne is the thing that, well, controls everything in the universe slash the multiverse, since the universe is directly known as the multiverse. So that's kind of how things work and how it stands at this point. So they all are Hado gods from different times, but each and every one of them from 1, 2, 3, 4, and no, not 5. No, God, I forgot Marie. Hold on, I actually have to get her now. Alright, I got the picture of Marie now. Anyways, this is Yuta, another version of Ren, but a stronger version, to be exact. Anyways, yeah. So, this is Rita, the first user of the chair of the throne, or the first king or god. Yeah, first god to sit on the throne. And then there's I forgot his name again. But his last I heard it was Miyata. But that's all I can say for now. That's Miyata. That's Miyata. That's going to be known as Miyata. This is also a Hado god. I will explain how this works, especially in the anime's terms, because it's not really in the anime, it's in the visual novel, and in the games. So this is the tumor. The tumor is basically Hajun's twin brother, who was well, absorbed by Hajun at birth, who has always been with Hajun, and ended up ascending to godlyhood because of Hajun. Now, in the world of Dairais, they have the ability to manifest their wishes or dreams into reality. And the tumor's wish was to not die, but to live. Now, this is just the reincarnated form of the tumor, since there is no picture of how he actually looks, unless it's the one recorded in the throne, which that's too much work to go look for. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of how it is. This is the reincarnated version of the tumor. So, yeah, and this is Marie. Alright, as we all know, Mori Dan. This is not Mori Jin, this is Mori Dan, his future self. If you're not caught up with the manga, like I said, please head out unless you are okay with spoilers. There is also Mujin, who he sees inside of the space, and the anti-spiral, and Truth. Now, I will be saying this now, Truth is the weakest one out of everybody here. Like, out of everybody here, Truth is the weakest one. The anti-spiral is not the weakest because he just likes to fight with people on equal terms. So, let's start this off. How Deku feels. Now, Deku, he's already in between everybody here. They're not surrounding him, they're just in front of him. And Deku says, "Who are you people?" As before anyone speaks, Hajin, is it Hajin? Yeah, Hajun, yeah, Hajun turns and looks to his left and right to see Reinhard, Mercurius, and Ren and Yota looking at him with not fearful faces but shocked faces. I will explain why. First of all, Hajun is the original villain or the whole antagonist of the whole series. This is not shown in the anime, so go play the games or go read the visual novel. Up to you. As Hajun, he is the strongest, and he is, well, the main villain, as I said before. And the ones who defeated him were, well, Mercurius, Reinhard, and Yota or Ren. But it was mostly Mercurius. Now, after they defeated him, Mercurius reset all of the universe by claiming the throne again. He claimed the throne and reset all of the multiverse, making sure that there were no possibilities or any probability of Hajin ever coming back to life. So, seeing as how that happened, seeing as how Hajin is still there, everybody is shocked, and Mercurius speaks first and says, "I thought I killed you." As Hajin says, I do not know what happened and why I'm here. But I promise you, if it wasn't for these restraints, I would have killed every one of you. As Mori is just casually watching silently as Mori looks at Mujin and he says, I thought I killed you. As Mujin says, of course not. As Mujin says, well, technically you did, but for some reason I'm back. As these two are just sitting quietly, just observing, because they don't know what's in store. So all of them try to use their powers, but they are unable to. Now, one thing can be said about the throne. The throne is a living being. It has sentience, it has a mind of its own. Alright, I will be explaining this later. The throne is known as a Naraka. They are the creators, no, they are the source of all of creation inside of the world of Desiree. Alright, so just remember, the throne is a sentient being. So, yeah, that's kind of how it happens. Now, Deku, he asks them who are they, as all of them look at Deku and says, as Reinhard proceeds to say, who is this twerp? Now, I'm not using his voice because his voice is actually in German, and as I said before, this is because in this world, events leading inside of World War II, mostly on the German side, definitely on the German side, led to certain events that I will not be speaking of. So, yeah, they are German, but I do not speak German, so I will not be saying anything in German. All right, good. As he says, who's this twerp? As Reinhard says this, Ren says, Reinhard, watch your mouth. As he proceeds to continue watching, and as Mary says, child, who are you? As Izuku states his name and says, my name is Izuku Midoriya. As Deku doesn't know what's going on and he asks what's going on, as all of them proceed to say they do not know. As above them, all of a sudden, a bright flash appears and the words train are seen. As Deku says, train? What's that supposed to mean? Mercurius, being the smartest man inside of that whole room, as he is, says, I believe, oh god, what was that? Ooh, who took a tumble? Dear god. Alright, I have confirmed it wasn't a human, but objects. Anyways, yeah. Reinhard, being the smartest man inside of that room that he is, he states, also, Reinhard happens to be the second strongest inside of that room, by the way. First strongest is Hajun. So, yeah. As Reinhard said, seeing as how the word train is above us, I'm guessing that we all are supposed to be, well, training him. As Hajun says, why the hell should I teach a twerp? As the tumor, or his twin brother, states, because this world's law says so. As Hajun says, I am above the world. As clearly Hajun hasn't realized that he is still in shackles and he is bound by the world, and that he cannot escape. As Mercurius says, none of us are bound by this world. Our world, yes, but this one, definitely not. And I feel that the only one that could possibly break past the barriers of this world is that boy, as he points towards Deku. As Deku says, me, but I don't have a quirk. As Mercurius says, what is this quirk you speak of? As Deku says, he starts explaining what a quirk is, or like a superpower and stuff like that. I'm not going to go into detail what a quirk is, that's too much work. As they get a general grasp, like everybody inside that room, Anti-Spiral, everything like that, get a general grasp of how that world works and what quirks are. As they said, as Deku says, do you guys have quirks you're gonna give me? Or as Mercurius says, "Oh, child, we don't have quirks." As basically all of them start smirking. As Mori raises his hand and says, "I'll train him first." As Mojin looks at him and says, "I'll assist you." As Mercurius and everybody else are wondering, why though? As Mori states, "We are the only ones here that actually use martial arts in each kind of it. So it'd be best if we teach him the basics of fighting before he learns how to use powers." As Mercurius agrees with them and says, "Go ahead." As he says, "How long will you take?" As Mori says, "We don't know. We don't know the time flow of this world." As Mercurius tries to peer into the world, as the world gives them an answer itself instead of trying to hold them back. The world says a day in Deku's world, or the outside world, is at least 1,000? Nah, 8,000 years. 8,000 years inside of that world. Because to be exact, these guys, they're 8,000 plus years old, and they have like years of experience, so it'd kind of be helpful to them. So, yeah. As Deku, he starts training with Mori and, well, Mujin. As they start teaching him the basics of martial arts and stuff like that, the punches and kicks. Mojin mostly showing him how to use his hands, since that's basically what his martial arts style is based off of, using your hands. Mori teaches him Wii Taekwondo and stuff like that, since he is based off kicks, literally. As Deku, after 1,000 years, has mastered their martial arts. He has not gained their powers, he has only mastered their martial arts and every other martial arts that they know and have created. So, that's kind of how it works. So, he gains the martial arts knowledge that they have, and it was relatively easy because Mori had already realized, as well as Mojin, that Deku had a really strong core or body, since Deku had already been training. So it was relatively easy to teach him things. It's just that his body movements that had to get unstiffened. So after they were done, they left him to, well, Truth. Truth still does not understand what's going on, but he says, I'll help him. And Truth is there to show him the basics of, well, alchemy. As basically, Truth shows him, like, the truth of everyone. Everyone in his world, to be exact. Even Elric and stuff like that. Especially Elric, since Elric was one of the most, well, talented alchemists out there. And he learned alchemy creating his own truth, but Truth was unable to peer into his truth or manipulate it in any way. So, that left him weak against him. Alrighty then, I'm back. So, he trained with Truth for another 1,000 years, until he had to go with Anti-Spiral. Now, over these 1,000 years with the people that he's been with, he has created an emotional connection with them. Not just emotional, but just a connection. Not a physical connection, but mental and psychological connection with them. And he trains with the Anti-Spiral of control and loving to fight. So, this is in preparation for Mercurius as well. So, yeah. No, not Mercurius. Not in preparation for his training with Mercurius, but with Reinhard. So he trains with the Anti-Spiral for 1,000 years, and the Anti-Spiral is playing on even grounds with him as always, since he's never fully used his full strength. So that's how it works for the 1,000 years with the Anti-Spiral. Now I will not be getting to when he goes with any of the other characters, at least not in this part, and that's where I'll be leaving it off for this one. So I just introduced the storyline, the people in it, and the training. So I'll get on with the rest of the training after this one. I hope you guys enjoyed, even though there were a lot of mistakes. And yeah, bye guys.